Good afternoon, everyone, and good morning or good evening to everybody. And welcome to today's regional webinar on championing equity and mental health in early childhood, Voices from the Fields. I'm Francesca Colombo, Program Manager at the International Step by Step Association, and I'm very happy to be here today with such a group of professional advocates and partners committed to strengthening the system that support young children, their families, and the workforce that serves them. Today we are going to discuss a very crucial topic with some of our ISSA members on the ground from different countries. So we will have a panel discussion, but we are very happy to have the opportunity to have an open meeting, and so to give you also the opportunity to interact with our panelists. We will have a short introduction, the panel discussion, and then time for question and answer. We feel that the topic of supporting the workforce is so crucial and important, and so we want to start by saying that let's keep this environment safe and open to listening to the others and to share our own experiences. We invite you also to use the chat for raising your question or sharing your own experiences on the ground in working with the early childhood workforce in your region, in your country, in your local environment. Jen, can you move the slide, please? Yes, as I was saying, the structure of this event is as an open meeting, so please make sure that you mute yourself when you are not speaking, that you are present. You can also put your camera on if you want, that you are concise in your answer, and that you are engaged so that you share your experiences, as I was saying before. So we will start with a short introduction just to introduce the topic of today's discussion. So we are here because we recognize that early childhood professionals are the backbone of strong inclusive systems. Whether working as educators, social workers, or health professionals, they play an essential role in shaping children's well-being. But yet too often they do so without the training and resources or systemic support they need to respond to contemporary challenges such, for example, war, trauma, discrimination, social exclusion. The work for well-being remains often overlooked, leaving the professional vulnerable to stress, burnout, and inequitable working conditions. And these compromise the quality of the early childhood services. So today we are here together to start changing this narrative. But before we dive into today's discussion, I want just to give you some information and highlight the Early Childhood Workforce Initiative. That is a global effort now driven at the regional level that is reshaping how we invest in the early childhood workforce. This initiative was launched by ISSA and Results for Development in 2016, but now has evolved into a collaboration of the 4 regional early childhood development network in Europe and Central Asia, in Africa, in the Arab region, and in the Asia Pacific region. And the initiative brings together regional and country realities, responsive to frontline challenges and shaped by those working directly with children and families. At the core of this initiative, there is systemic change because we want to make sure that early childhood professionals have the training, the support, and the recognition that they need to provide children and families with high quality services. This is not just about one-off training session, but is about embedding meaningful, sustainable change into pre-service and in-service education, into institutional policies and national early childhood framework. ISSA has created 2 programs that are transforming the early childhood workforce by equipping professionals with essential skills to support children and navigate complex challenges. The first program is the psychological first aid and trauma-informed practices that address the mental health crisis affecting children, families, and the workforce itself. It provides early childhood professionals with the skill to respond to trauma, displacement, and adversity, while also prioritizing their well-being to prevent burnout. The PFA program has been successfully integrated into training programs across multiple countries in the ISSA region in Europe and Central Asia. It has been adapted to diverse cultural and institutional settings and accredited in several early childhood education and care systems, thanks to the relentless work of our ISSA members. The other program we would like to discuss today is the Embracing Diversity program that is reshaping how early childhood professionals champion equity and inclusion. This program ensures that children who live in vulnerable conditions, whether due to poverty, ethnicity, disability, or displacement, receive the same opportunities as their peers. More than just a training, the Embracing Diversity is a framework for changing mindset and institutional practices, equipping professionals to challenge discrimination, create anti-bias environment, and foster true belonging in early childhood settings. Both the programs reinforce a key principle that high quality early childhood services depend on a well supported and well equipped workforce. By embedding these approaches into education system, we move beyond individual capacity building to strengthening the structure that sustain professional growth and resilience. This is where today's speakers that are with us play a vital role. They are not just trainers or program facilitators, they are systems builders. They are working across policy, training, and practice to ensure that equity driven, trauma sensitive approaches are not seen as optional, but as essential component of a childhood system. They shape institutional policies, advocate for workforce support, and bring training to life by embedding the training into local frameworks. Their work goes beyond improving daily practices. It reshapes the policies and national strategies that define early childhood education and care. By championing systemic change, they are ensuring that both children and the workforce receive the support, recognition, and the investment that they serve. Our discussion today is about more than immediate solution. It is about shaping the future of the early childhood workforce. Investing in professionals is an investment in children, in families, and communities. If we are serious about equity and mental health in early childhood, we must just be as serious about building strong, resilient systems that support the workforce behind it. So I am very honored to introduce our distinguished speakers that are leaders from Croatia, Hungary, Serbia, and Kazakhstan, who will share how they are embedding and adapting PFA and embracing diversity program into local training programs, supporting early childhood practitioners and advocating for long-term systemic change. These professionals are at the forefront of these movements, and I'm very privileged, we are all very privileged today to learn from their experiences. So let me introduce our panelists today that are Marina Matesic, Program Director at Open Academy Step by Step in Croatia, Alexandra Kalezic, Education Specialist and Program Director at Chief Center for Interactive Pedagogy in Serbia, Zsuzsa Laszlo, Program Manager and Trainer and Partners Hungary Foundation in Hungary, and Guldaban Zakayeva, Director of Community Educational Foundation School for All in Kazakhstan. You are very welcome, and I'm very happy that you are joining us in this conversation today. Just to drive the discussion, we have prepared a set of questions to explore some of the topics that I was mentioning in my introduction. So I will very happy to start with the first question that is about the challenges and the competence gap that early childhood professionals are experiencing due to the challenging context like trauma, displacement, wars, pandemic, and all of that. Let's say this polycrisis context we are in. So I would like to ask Marina, as representative of the Europe region, to share some insights about the needs and challenges faced by professionals.
Hello, everybody. Thank you, Francesca. Um, so we are just quickly to present ourselves. So we are a professional development organization and the founding member of ISSA. And basically, I think the best way to present ourselves is to say that whatever ISSA has, we try to cascade it down in local and national context if we have resources for it. And every once in a while, we try to give back with some innovative ideas from the field. But during the last 20 or so years, we have been in the field doing trainings with the professionals, I think around 100 days of training per year, usually. So this is, I think, pretty a lot to hear the voices from the field, to hear what the practitioners are actually thinking about our trainings and our topics that we offer, and whether there is something that they are missing and that they lack. So in several of the last years, we've noticed, especially since the pandemic and some other unfortunate events we had in Croatia, like two very large earthquakes and other conditions of modern life, like ICT technology in our everyday lives and children's lives. We've noticed that the topics of mental health has been basically first on the agenda. We haven't really dealt with it yet until recently. And the closest we got to it was with our different programs, which I believe a lot of the organizations share, that support professional development communities with different techniques of group reflection. And although these are not aimed at mental health support, but they do have some therapeutic effects on the practitioners, and then they empower them and strengthen their resilience to deal with challenges of today. So when ISSA actually initiated the PFA, which you mentioned, of course, the Embracing Diversity program we were a part of a long time ago from its initial phase. But this new program that you initiated was, I think, groundbreaking for us in this aspect, because we send our trainers to be trained with ISSA. One was from the university, or now is at the university. So we are kind of happy that we managed to squeeze some of the PFA into the university teacher training system. And the other one was our trainer, and later we had other trainers we trained spinning off the PFA. But how we came to that conclusion was that actually in our other trainings, when there was a mention of burnout, or in some cases secondary traumatization, like this is a part of the PFA, and other topics that were mentioned, the challenges that arise from different reflective groups and so on, we basically had nothing to offer. So we took the PFA training, although it was a part of the Ukraine response, and it was meant, and it is meant for supporting refugee children. We actually took the last part of the PFA and made a kind of a spin-off, which we entitled Self-Care and Prevention of Burnout. And this is a one-day training program. I think Bojana, my colleague, is here with us. She's a co-trainer of this program, and offered it to kindergartens and schools, and also tried a lot in the last 2 years to get public funding for it. So whenever there was a city call or national or other call, we applied for it, and we tried to get money to provide this training for the practitioners. And maybe later on I can mention more about some aspects of this that are relevant for other topics, but I would stop here. I know there are other panelists.
Thank you, Marina. And I hope that you can hear me better now because I saw the comment in the chat. I'm sorry. I would like to ask the same question also to Gulbadan, that is representing, let's say, the Central Asia region. So, what are the challenges and the competence gap that ECD professional experience in your region, Gulbadan, based on your experience? Please unmute yourself, Gulbadan.
Hello, everyone. Do you hear me well? Thank you, Francesca. I'm Gulbadan. I'm a director of Community Educational Foundation School for All in Kazakhstan. In recent years, we had several educational projects, including small project on PFA program that supported by ISSA. The question was, what competence gap are ECD professionals experiencing today due to challenging context? I talked to some of ECD professionals in my country and found out that not everyone understands the value and the importance of teachers' well-being. And there is also a lack of self-care competences. I would note the following main gaps in competence that ECD professionals experiencing in my country. First of all, it is the recognition of own emotional signals, monitoring own emotional state. Not all teachers and specialists have the skills and experience to take a few minutes every day assessing our own feelings, acknowledging strengths, anxiety, and fatigue without judgment. And second issue is not everyone can seek and offer support in a crisis. Many of them believe that asking for help and support is a weakness. They are embarrassed to ask for help, whether it is professional counseling or simply talking with a trusted peer. There are several common reasons why people struggle to ask for help. Some people may fear that asking for help would make them appear incompetent or inferior. Some people are concerned about being rejected, which can be embarrassing and painful. Others may be concerned about burdening and inconveniencing others. Sometimes we observe that when teachers are in need of help, they are often caught up in their own concerns and worries and don't fully recognize the uh, pro-social motivations of people around them who are ready to help. I think it is important to understand that building peer support groups and connections with others who share your interests, goals, and challenges can be a great opportunity to reduce isolation, and it is a good chance to strengthen sense of belonging, identity, and purpose. I think our culture should emphasize the value of caring for each other, as it is an essential component of a healthy and balanced life of ECD professionals, which benefits their students and the entire educational community also.
Thank you so much, Gulbadan. You raised some very crucial points about self-care, the importance of learning community, of building community of professional and peer support. This is something also we really realize when talking with trainers that we train in PFA and professional, that the topic of mental health and well-being of professional and self-care was was previously seen a kind of taboo. So, and the training in a way trigger a new mentality, a new way of working, and also new lens. We are also talking about soft and transversal skills like social emotional learning, empathy, resilience, respect for diversity. So I would like to ask Alexandra, and because I know that they have been working a lot on this topic, how can professionals be equipped with these essential soft and transversal skills that usually are overlooked by traditional education system?
Thank you, Francesca. Thank you all. Hello, everyone. My name is Alexandra, and I'm Program Director in Center for Interactive Pedagogy. I came from Serbia, and my organization is established in 1998. That means that we are a very old organization, working mainly in field of education. And thank you for the opportunity to share our experience. Last 2.5 years, we are working with our partners from US, Childhood Education International, on developing program for social emotional learning. And it was very, very important program actually for developing soft skills of teacher. This program is dedicated to teacher in primary school, and our primary schools are actually schools that are attended by children from 6 to 15 years old. So the first step, we worked with 5 schools and participatory, we developed the program, training program for teacher. But first step, I think it is important to mention is need analysis. We started with self-assessment of teacher because we want to hear them what they think that they are strengths and what are their weaknesses and what they want to improve. Based on that, actually, we developed whole complex program, training program, which is composed by 3 modules. First one was online module, which basic information about social emotional competencies, what that means, about concept of social emotional learning. And the second and third module were in-person module when we work directly with teachers to support empowering their competencies in this field. In addition to training, we developed program material for mentoring support. So after each training, when we actually deal deeper with each competencies, teacher had time to apply their knowledge in practice. And after that, we have with them mentor meetings and mentoring support to discuss about application knowledge for training in their practice. And we think that this approach, when they have time to apply knowledge from training and then to discuss on mentoring meeting, is very good because they can discuss about challenges in practice, about good examples and share their examples, etc. Also, we work a lot of networking, and we try to establish community of practice with all schools that are involved in our project. And that was really great because for some of them, it was the first opportunity to present their experience. So they practice also their competencies for presentation, for self-confidence, and other very important social emotional skills that are very important, not just for their work, but also for work with students. Horizontal exchange was very, very important part of our project. So a horizontal exchange on the level of school, but also on the level of all schools that were involved in our project. We developed, in addition to that, we developed a lot of resource material for schools, material that support teacher to work with parents, but also to work with students. So we think that we equip them very well with different skills, knowledge, resources that they can apply all these things in their everyday practice. So maybe I can stop here and then we can go deeper.
Yes, and thanks a lot. And I saw also that my colleague put in the chat for all our participants the link to your webpage with all the resources that are also available in different languages. So I really invite everybody to go there and explore a little bit more the work that has been done by our colleagues in Serbia and by Egypt. Yes, I totally agree on the importance of building strong professional networks
that help also professionals to speak out about their challenges and their needs, and also, find peer support. I want to go back to the topic of self-care, as this has been something that has been overlooked, as I was saying before. And so I would like to ask our panelists, how can we integrate self-care into professional development? Because that has been something that it's really key to bring this lens of, let's say, self-transformation and self-care. I mean, we all the time say that to take care of the other, we should take care of ourselves as frontline workers. So it's very, very much important. So I would like to hear first from Zsuzsa, what is her experiences about this topic, about self-transformation and self-care?
Thank you. Hi, everyone. I'm Zsuzsa László from Budapest, Hungary, representing Partners Hungary. And I would start with reflecting on all of us who are standing here at the Zoom, because we are all somehow frontline workers or care professionals. And it's 2:30. And I just wonder how many hours did you self-care today? From the morning. And that's the problem. So I would start with preaching about this, but not doing it. It's never a good idea. So that's how exactly we start with early childhood professionals in Hungary. Not this funny way, of course. I just, because we are within ourselves, I could do that. But basically, it's by nature the care professionals have this tendency of neglecting themselves. And so that's the fact. And especially, I think, in Central Eastern Europe or Eastern Europe, it's even more, but maybe that's just a prejudice. So I'm stopping here. Instead, I'm telling you what we did, because at RAIN Hungary, we had almost 1,000 professionals with us. And for every year, at the beginning of each year, we asked them what kind of professional development do they want. At the beginning, we asked them open-ended questions. So they told us, I don't know, working with Roma families, conflict management, assertive communication, etc. No one ever mentioned self-care or burnout prevention or resilience. And then we switched and we changed it to closed questions. So we offered this as an option. And you can guess what the results are for many years now. The first one in the list is the burnout prevention, and everything else comes after that. So what we see now here, and if you think about yourself and your day-to-day, and also these professionals in Hungary, I think one thing is just we have a saying in Hungarian, just to offer them on a tray. So just put it there, just bring it in, share it. So what we do now is we have some trainings that are focusing on this topic. And sometimes we just don't ask any other training. I know it sounds harsh, but we say, okay, we have this training. Do you want this? And the answer is always yes. And then we can go ahead. So, and back to ourselves of today, if someone would, come with a very nice vegan, healthy, organic food, we would eat that. But if no one is coming, I just had my Würstel, it was in the fridge. So that is our solution. Go there, 0 step, offer it, do it. Thank you.
Thank you, Zsuzsa, for making us reflecting on ourselves as well. I want also to ask the same question to Marina, because I know that they have been working in a keeping profession to start taking care of themselves as well, and they are developing resources. So Marina, what's your experience on that?
It's very similar to what Zsuzsa just explained. We also offered the PFA training first to our RAIN network and to our Play Hub coordinators who are working with Roma children and families. And it was really a great success. But again, in other occasions, whenever we would ask or mention the topic of self-care, it would be, even in our organization, I think we were a bit reserved first when we start thinking about this topic, because, and this is a part of our training, the first part of our training, we actually go through a list of different biases or stereotypes, not stereotypes, kind of myths about self-care and about burnout, about mental health. And we put it out there for everybody to think really hard about what it means. For instance, when we say we are here for the children and not for ourselves, because that's why we don't deserve self-care. Or when we say burnout is something that the new generations have invented, the old generations never dealt with burnout. Or when we say, for instance, that young people, or it's a problem of older practitioners, while in fact we know that all research shows that actually it's the young practitioners in the first 5 years that are actually 50% of them in Croatia, based on research, is thinking of leaving the profession due to burnout and to stress, work-related stress. So all this put together opens up a lot of the space, and air to work on the topic, and then we start and continue through this training to learn together what burnout is, how to prevent it, like Zsuzsa said, how to practice self-care in the most individual and original ways we want. However, whoever feels like practicing, it can be, it's not always calm music for everybody. It's maybe running or hitting something for somebody else. So we also do a lot of funny activities with them. We try to make this event also, although it is another 6 hours of training, very often after they had 6 or more hours of work. But somehow I think, at least based on the evaluations we get from them after every training, we feel that they liked it and they found it useful, and that at the end of the day, they had developed some real hard skills. Soft skills in a sense of how the theory divides it, but these skills are actually competencies that are necessary and that should be included in the pre-service and in-service trainings, basically in every country, in all of the professions that are, how do you say, service professions or helping professions, right? Don't know the term in English.
Thank you, Marina. Yes, I totally agree with you about the fact that bringing this type of topic into training for professional, really, it's a kind of open eye for professional, because they are so much committed in supporting the others that sometimes they just don't think about their needs, their personal needs. And also what we saw from evaluation of the trainers that we train on PFA, and then I imagine you did the same with professional, is that after receiving that type of training, after reaching that type of awareness about the fact that they really need self-care practices to be embedded in their daily routine, they also start really to, do it more purposely. So every day they were starting to introduce little things. So sometimes it's really about introducing like daily routine or small exercise to release stress, even if that just takes 5 minutes, but that 5 minutes are important to be more ready to react and support children and families and whoever needs support. And as the PFA was divided, the training was divided in different modules. One was about supporting children recognize stress and trauma in children, then supporting caregivers, and then supporting themselves. I would like also to ask our panelists how self-care that we are mentioning now can lead also to better inclusion and well-being in early childhood settings. So what are the benefits for young children and families, and for building environment that take care and to account the well-being of everybody? And I would like to ask this question to Alexandra and to Susa, but also everybody that feels ready can reply to this question.
Thank you, Francesca. Actually, we thought that teachers working on developing their own social emotional skills actually became more equipped to working with children to support developing of children's social emotional skills and to create more inclusive and positive environment. And during our training, as Marina mentioned, we want to involve joy as more as possible. And we always plan some playing activities at the beginning or for the end, and our participants really like that. But I would like to mention that actually all our trainings are very interactive and based on participant experience. And that means that all the time they actually reflect on their own knowledge, their own skills and attitudes. And they have opportunity to discuss with other participants, to listen some feedback of trainers, etc. Also, two very important things I would like to mention is one of them is whole school approach or preschool approach, because we think that only if we have and we nurture that whole school approach, we can support actually that something what skills and knowledge that teacher gain through training, actually they apply in their practice. Whole school approach means that whole school breathe in sense of social emotional learning and in sense of supporting the student social emotional skills. That means that from the level of politics, social emotional learning has to be recognized as very important topic, which is involved in all domain of school life. That means on level of ethos, level of teaching and learning, not just extracurricular activities, for example, which is very often a situation that teachers think that those activities are actually for extracurricular activities. No, they had to be involved in whole structure of school, and also to work with parents, to work with community. All this level has to be involved in that whole school approach. Another thing that I also would like to mention is participatory action research that was one of component of our project. That means the teacher will be equipped with knowledge and skills to analyze their situation, to recognize the problem which they have. For example, schools recognize problem of communication with parents, student behavior, communication with community, communication among them in school. So when they recognize the problem, then they start to create small plan how they will first of all to see situation, to analyze situation, and to start with some activities to change that situation. So that circles of participatory action research is actually very well accepted by school, because they get small tools which they use in their everyday life, in life of school, to improve some domain that they recognize that they have the problem with. So I think that these components are very important if we want to change atmosphere. We can start, of course, for the individual teachers, but we can't stop on that level. We have to broaden all these activities on level of whole school.
I totally agree. We cannot just stay with the individual training of professional. We should change the entire system. And Susa, do you want to share something?
Yeah, just quickly following the line of what is the key of inclusion, and I think one of the key of inclusion is being self-aware as a professional, and being self-aware. The key to that is self-care. So it's kind of a domino. So starting with self-care, and then because we do a lot of embracing diversity training, and we always start with self-awareness activities, because we believe that understanding, the notion of inclusion without being self-aware of our own biases and being honest about this and working on it is it's just not happening. So I think so if the question is what is what leads to the inclusion, I think the first step is being self-aware, and being self-aware, I think the method of training, especially embracing a diversity, I think it's very, very nice and efficient for opening our self-awareness. So professionally, I would also add like a self-care training, and then a awareness training, and then embracing diversity, and of course the PSA. So it's kind of like a sequence for me, and then we can go on and on. So yeah, I just wanted to add this sequence.
Thank you. Yes, we totally agree. I mean, these are two vital components, self-transformation, self-awareness, and self-care, because both of them work at the individual level, but that individual level then can become also professional level if we bring everybody on the same line. I want to ask Gulbadan, because we said, and I said also in my introduction, that only training professional is not enough. We need to change the system, and we need to work together with, so we not just need to work with professionals, but we need to work also and advocate with the institution that actually train those professionals. So I want to ask Gulbadan, what is your experience based on the work that you have done in Kazakhstan about how we can drive systemic change in pre-service and in-service training institutions, so that we can have better prepared for professionals for the challenges of today. You're mute, Gulbadan.
Sorry. Recognizing the critical role that wellness and self-care play in the life of educators, educational institutions must take active steps to integrate these essential aspects into their teacher education programs. To implement these steps and integrate self-care skills into pre- and in-service education, each country must have its own pathways and own approach. Now, I would like to share with our experience on integration PFA content into pre-service training for early childhood education and care professionals. After the ISSA PFA training, we started thinking about how to implement this initiative and integrate it into the context of early childhood education in our country. As the educational program of teacher training institutes of the Republic of Kazakhstan doesn't provide a special course and trainings. We discussed it with our main partner, Abay University, which is a leading national pedagogical university in Kazakhstan. We discussed how to integrate PFA content into pre-service training program. We make a short presentation to representatives of this university and talked about the importance of PFA and trauma-informed practices, discussing the importance of equipping ECD professionals with soft skills such as empathy, tolerance, respect for diversity, and trauma-sensitive communication. We suggested to conduct foundational training for all pedagogical university teachers. This idea was fully supported by colleagues, and they offered their assistance in negotiations with other pedagogical universities of our country. The purpose of our project was to train trainers and to facilitate the integration of the ISSA's embracing diversity and psychological first aid programs into pre-service training for early childhood education and care professionals. we started our activities with adaptation and translation of all training materials into Kazakh and designing of the conceptual framework of our training. At the same time, we negotiated with pedagogical universities in order to identify training participants. We focused on experienced trainers, teachers who are interested in developing this idea of this initiative and ready to collaborate with us. And in June of last year, we conducted 2-3 days online training in Kazakh and Russian, which were attended by 77 educators from all regions of the Republic of Kazakhstan. The participants were teachers of teacher training, retraining institutes, early years practitioners, psychologists, and professionals of the Department of Education. The training participants showed great interest. For them, it was very important that the training combines theory with practice and has a full package of materials in 2 languages. After the training, we started negotiations with the teacher training institutes on integration of PFA content into pre-service training curriculum of early childhood education. We received great support from our partner, the leading pedagogical university, Abay University, which stated that the training materials would certainly be implemented into the program for students and master students. And also they conducted their own foundational training for all teachers of their ECD department. We think that it will facilitate further implementation of PFA training. As a result of negotiations with other pedagogical universities, we managed to get support from all other training participants and received confirmation that training content and materials will be integrated into the educational program as part of the major course, innovations in early childhood education and primary education, which was a very important achievement for all of us. Thank you.
That was amazing. Thank you, Gulbadan. I feel that you really reach a lot in Kazakhstan, and we are very happy about this result. I want also to ask other colleagues if you have any experience in accrediting training in your country or include some of the content of the training in your program. So yes, for pre-service and in-service training, I mean.
Okay. In our country, we have system of training accreditation. So module that I mentioned in my presentation are actually accredited. All 3 modules are accredited. And for teacher, it is very important to get that points of first of accredited program. This program is announced as a program of national interest. So this program is on the list of Minister National Interest Program. And we also have another way of accreditation for which is often called for in every 3 or 4 years. Our organization is accredited many years ago program Neither Black Nor White, which is actually a program for accepting diversity that we had with ISSA. And this program is really very well evaluated by participants. They really enjoy participating in this program. And we what we do when we start with new projects, we very often involve actually that program, training program in our project, because we think that this topic is really important, and the training is really accepted by teacher, and very useful. So that is how we work. And element of first psychological support, we actually recognize in our program for social emotional learning, how to deal with stress, self-awareness, self-regulation, etc.
Thank you, Alexandra. Any other comments from our panelists before I open the floor? Okay, so I would like to ask our audience if you have any question for our panelists, or you would like to share your experience on something you work on. And please just feel free to put on your camera and mute yourself and ask your question. And don't be shy. Okay, while we wait for some question, maybe I can ask you an additional question, and whoever wants to reply, feel free to do so. We mentioned in more than one point, and more than one of you mentioned the same, the importance of building professional networks. So also building community of professionals that can come together, discuss and feel supported, and also work better together. This is something that is really important also for ISSA, and we have been doing so, also building like online learning communities of different trainers and professionals that have been trained, because we felt that this continuous mentorship and support is something that is really vital. So do you have any experience on that? And if you can share some key tips for building strong professional network that can in different environment that can support professional on the ground.
I can go. Because we are building Rhine community for 11 years now, and I think we complain a lot about how civil organizations in the region are, underpaid and under in the focus. But the good thing about being a civil is that you can react in a quicker way. So you can react, for example, offering topics to professionals, because the state, at least in Hungary, the state organizations offering professional help or building networks are, like big animals moving slow. And we, especially with ISSA, we can move innovative way and very quick. So I think that's one thing that will lead us to professional network development. The second is we also are innovative in the method. So we have case study workshops that the state would never offer, or film clubs in the topics, and also we choose the location in a way that we would be innovative, not in the same. When we do accredited trainings, we don't use the same buildings that the other professional, trainer firms or public offices use, but we take the professional network in trendy or fancy restaurants if we can afford. So we appreciate the work that they do. So in a way, I think building a network, professional network, is not just about the topic that you offer, but also the how do you offer and how do you wrap it. So that would be my tip, to somehow stand out. Yeah, thanks.
Thank you, Susan. And we have one question in the chat. It's about how difficult it was to include such topic like self-care, trauma-informed practices in the curricula for pre-service training. I don't know if Gulbadan or anybody want to reply to this question. Was it difficult? Was it challenging? What type of, resistance you should have overcome to include this in pre-service?
It wasn't easy, but I think what is important is that this PFA training has all necessary materials and other resources that will be very important for training participants. And also we had very strong and supportive partner, Abba University. We have a good partnership with this university for several years. And I think it will be important to achieve, to include this initiative, this idea to pre-service program. That's all.
Thank you, Gulbadan. So having long-lasting partnership and alliance with key institutions can be something that support and help for sure the adoption of this topic also at the institutional level. And I feel also that advocacy and trying to influence policies can be done if we do it together. So if we come together as a network in this case, or also more than one network together, like for example, under the early childhood workforce, is key, because our voice that come from the local level and then the regional level, it can be scaled up also at a more global level. And so if we join forces together, of course, we can have much more power and also have a more convincing argument for those who want to implement, who have the power actually to implement change, the systemic change that we aim to. I just want to mention that, for example, for the Embracing Diversity program, we published in December on the Early Childhood Workforce Initiative a call to action. So really going that direction of joining forces and see what we can do together to push for a systemic change in the system and support the workforce that is working with children and families. I will ask my colleague Jan maybe to share the slide where we have the QR code so that you can just press and go to the website of the Early Childhood Workforce and see all the resources, the brief that have been developed, and also the call to action that I was mentioning. We have also different social media channels, so you can just go and explore a little bit more. There is a knowledge hub, and you can also subscribe to the newsletter of the Early Childhood Workforce Initiative to stay informed about all the latest development. We will also publish very soon a brief on all the work that has been done on PFA and how this program has become accredited in some countries. We have here today Gulbadan from Kazakhstan, but the same happened, for example, in Montenegro. So I will invite you to subscribe to the newsletter to stay informed. I don't know if there are any other questions from the audience. Yes, there is another one. Let me check. The question says, to what extent there are other organizations, institutions that are championing the issue of mental health for ECEC staff in your country? If it is a recognized issue, And if you also target in your programs, not just professional, but also the leaders of the ISSA centers. And what brought you most satisfaction for working on the issue of PFA and mental health? So there are more than one question in one. So feel free, any of you, to reply.
I can say that although we don't have any good practice on the first question, that there aren't any institutions that are actually supporting practitioners except a couple of CPD organizations like ours. But there are ways how these things can be supported more formally from the public institutions, and besides just offering lectures on mental health in theory, some form of professional development communities, or even supervision of a kind, mentorship, let's call it more mentorship than supervision, is very common in some other professions that are very linked to ECEC. For instance, in social services, in psychotherapy or psychology and so on. So there are ways how you can go to certain groups, which are professional groups, and get some support in professional support. We're not talking about going to a counseling, but so some kind of professional supervisions. So this is something that has been discussed here and there. I'm not sure how often we see it in other countries. We don't have it in Croatia, but it is something to perhaps mention.
Thank you, Marina. Alexandra Sousa Gulbadan, do you want to reply to this question as well? What brought you satisfaction doing this work?
In my country, unfortunately, there is not enough experience. The training on PFA was the first experience for our educational institutions, for our teachers. We just started to learn about PFA, about teachers' well-being, and other points of this issue, and we don't have enough experience. We just started.
What's in my mind? Sorry, Alexandra. Just
No, it's okay.
What we do in the last, let's say, 4 to 5 years is to cooperate with higher educational institutions working in early childhood education. So departments, students, researchers, because somehow we feel a connection there and the need for development, and also the innovation that I mentioned before, it's there as well. So instead of, we also don't have answering to the question, we have nothing like that, but the higher education institutions, they're coming up, and then they are good partners in Hungary. Alexandra.
Yeah, we cooperate during our project. We cooperate with the Faculty of Philosophy, Department of Psychology, and with students, psychology students, and also with professor. And they told us that they involved some part in their curricula about social, emotional, and soft skills in their syllabus. That was something that we knew from their side, that they involved that. What I also wanted to add, connected to the question, what brought more satisfaction for working on this issue. When we started to work with teacher about social emotional skills, etc., they told us that they don't know how to cope with emotion of students and how to deal with some challenging behavior, how to deal that they didn't learn that at school, especially, for example, math teacher or geography teacher, etc. So after our trainings, they assess their competencies, and they told us that they feel now more confident to deal with emotion, to deal with all specter of soft skill that they learned through our program. So they change by thinking about themselves, but also they change in their relation and communication with students, but also with parents. And they became recognized in community as a school that deal with that problem. So maybe some of these schools will become model institution for social emotional learning in our country, we hope. So we think that we made the first step in promoting and involving this topic in our schools.
Thank you so much, Alexandra. I don't know if there are any other additional questions, but in case there are not, I just want to thank you, everybody. So thank you especially our panelists that join us today. And as I'm here today representing the ISSA Secretariat, the ISSA Network Hub, I really want to express our gratitude for the amazing work that all our members on the ground are doing. I mean, today we have some representatives from some countries, but there have been many other countries that have been involved in both Embracing Diversity and the PFA program. And I really feel that the power of a network like ISSA lies in the work of our members and in the way that they really use the knowledge, the new knowledge that is created in the network, and enrich that knowledge, expand that knowledge, bring the knowledge to the ground, and support the people that are living on the ground. So the professional, the practitioner, but also the young children that are our ultimate beneficiaries and families. So I'm very grateful for that. And all the time that I have the opportunity to talk to our members, I really feel recharged, and I really appreciate your amazing work. So that was just an opportunity for all our audience to learn more about your program, but I saw also that you put a link in the chat. So I really invite everybody to go there and explore more about the work of our members and the work of ISSA and the Early Childhood Workforce Initiative. And I'm sure that there will be other opportunities in the future to reconnect and to continue this discussion. It was just a starting point for a continuous discussion. And thank you everybody for being here today. And I wish you a great afternoon or evening or morning, depending where you are based. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.